Hello and welcome to Dil Ki Baat, straight from the heart conversation series, where we will be talking to personalities and coaches who have expertise in their areas and who are creating impact in their lives as well as in others' life. And in this series today, we have the most wonderful and beautiful person from the beautiful city of South Africa, the Cape Town. She is a certified relationship and transformation life coach. Under the able guidance of her mentor, Mr. Arfin Khan, she has impacted thousands of lives in their incredible youth journey. She is also a co-founder of the Giralt Consulting Firm. So let us know more about her in her own words. So let us welcome Rosemary Giralt with a loud applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti. I'm very humbled to be on your talk show and in conversation with you. Thank you so much for inviting me. So you want to know more about me?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay, so I am a mother of 3 children. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren that I absolutely love. And I started off my career as a nurse because I was interested in anatomy, physiology, and people. And then by default, I got into the pharmaceutical industry where I spent 34 years. So my career spanned over there. I was in sales, marketing, regulatory, training, facilitation. And in my last 5 years, I headed up learning and development for CIPLA. You all know CIPLA in South Africa, where I introduced a coaching program. So the coaching program was introduced for middle managers to directors. So we used a particular model. And for 5 years, once every 6 weeks, for 2.5 hours, the same group of people would get together with a psychologist, with a coach from different areas of South Africa. And they came back year after year after year after year. So my passion was always working with people, spending time with people, listening to people. That has always been my passion. And I decided, well, I've got to retire now, and I need to find a new career. So I hooked up with Arfin Khan and the Incredible You, flew off to Mumbai just before COVID broke out. We actually had to wear masks and practice social distancing. And when I got to Mumbai, everybody said this is only going to be a few months and then the world is going to return to normal. Well, little did we know. So I had my farewell over Zoom. It was the first time the company had ever done a farewell over Zoom. And we started going through all these experiences, you know, Zoom fatigue, trying to read people, not touching, not hugging, not feeling the energy from people. So that was really a very stressful time for all of us as individuals. And then I started my coaching career. So to date, I've had 24 clients. I've also started my own series on YouTube called the Creative Journey series. I'm about to publish my second book, and I'm 3/4 of the way through my other book. And I just love the whole community, working with people. There's so much joy. And you know, Jyoti, I work across continents.
Yeah.
And the one book we wrote was in collaboration with 13 coaches from 3 continents. And we told our stories of transformation. And then I realized that, you know, we're all the same, because Africa and India are patriarchal societies, yes, where culture and patriarchy plays a huge role, specifically in women, where women very often are, their lights are put out, where they have to acquiesce to what culture and patriarchy demands. So we have that in South Africa as well. And so we're the same, you know, maybe our culture, our music, our food is a little bit different. But I think in my last life, I was definitely Indian, because I love all food Indian. I love curry. And every time I visited India, people would say, would you like a Western diet? And I'd say, definitely not.
So how many times have you visited India?
I visited India 3 times, and I've been to Delhi, and of course I went to Agra. That was amazing. I came off a flight, and flew from Dubai to Delhi, got on a taxi, went to Agra, and that was, the Taj was one of the most incredible experiences I ever had. That how a woman could be so greatly loved that you would have this incredible monument studded with rubies and beautiful, sparkling ivory marble. So that was, for me, a very spiritual experience, I must say. I sat a lot in the garden, reflecting, thinking. So it was really wonderful. And then I've been to Mumbai 3 times. I've been everywhere in Mumbai. I have been to Goa, and of course, coming from Cape Town, which is the wine capital of South Africa. We have very good wines. I've been to Nasik. I went to the Sula yards and tasted some of your wines there. And I can't wait to get back to go to the northeast of India and the south of India and just explore more about your country.
So what similarity did you see in India and South Africa? Any similarities?
Look, South Africa is a very, it's a young country as far as Western civilization is concerned, but we have the oldest, this is where Europeans say, the cradle of humankind, we call it. We have dinosaur footprints, we have skulls of Neanderthal man, sorry about that. So that's as far as, and we have our Bushman paintings and that sort of thing, Stone Age implements. But India is so ancient and so old. But I think the poverty maybe is the same. We have a lot of people in poverty. We have a lot of unemployment. We have, people on different levels. We don't really have the caste system like in India. But what I loved was the passion for food, the friendliness and the kindness of the Indian people. You have such a beautiful soul. And that really resonated with me. And South Africans are also known to be very friendly people. And Indians are very philosophical and very spiritual. And we will also have a part of our population which is like that as well. But I love the Indian people. They're very warm-hearted, very friendly, very kind. So I would say that would be a similarity. And then when it comes to our cultural clothes, we also have wonderful, vibrant colors and very interesting dancing and singing and chanting. So you've got to go.
Yeah, I got a chance to glimpse that, and that is my urge. That is my desire to visit South Africa once in my lifetime. Yeah. So that is one thing. Like I want to travel around the world and visit places because I love traveling. And from past few years, and because of this COVID, almost 2 years, 1.5 years, I haven't moved out of the house at all.
You can't.
And it's like now it's like I'm getting itchy. I want to move out. I want to go. So let's see how things shape up and how we can
definitely
travel.
Yeah. So Cape Town is beautiful. It's like its own country. It's like Europe, the mountains, and it's a little bit different from that point of view. And then you've got the rolling grasslands and the bush and the wildlife. And we have incredible fauna, and we have incredible flora here in the Western Cape. We have nearly 6,000 unique species, whereas the Amazon only has like just under 400 species. Yeah.
Yes. So I hope you are flowers. Into flowers and also the wildlife. So these are the two things which I'm in crazy love with these two things. So that is the reason I want to visit, and I want to visit all the places.
You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed.
So I hope you don't mind me calling you Rose. So
please call me Rose. I've cut my name in half. So definitely Rose.
Great. So so let's just wanted to I start this with an activity. So I'll be asking you a few questions, Rose, and you have to answer those questions in one word or one sentence. Okay?
Okay.
Shall we start? So what is your favorite activity that is not related to your work?
Okay, I love walking in the mountains and the beach, which both are very close to where I live.
What is your favorite childhood book?
My favorite childhood book was Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
That is Indian book, right? Nee? Oh, so it was there only?
Yeah. We had this, and it had all of You know, it was beautiful with beautiful illustrations and colors and sultans and slippers and gold and
Yeah.
spectacular
that's
and beautiful women,
that's a
you know.
surprise. What is your favorite dessert?
My favorite dessert, okay, my favorite dessert is creme brulee or cheesecake. I have to give both.
Wow.
I
So
love a
this is
baked
common in both
cheesecake,
of us. I love cheesecake. So that's the commonality there.
but it's got
And
to be baked. Must be baked, yeah.
yeah. So what if you get a magic wand? What would you like to change from your past?
If I got a magic wand, what I'd like to change for my past, I think really nothing, because I am what I am because of my past. So if I had changed even my marriage that wasn't so great towards the end, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So I don't think I'd really want to change anything, if that's okay.
Totally agree with you. Just wanted to understand a little more about you. So, yeah. So, what inspired you to become a relationship and transformation coach? Why
Okay,
relationship and
so when I
transformation?
started on this journey, it'll be longer than a sentence. I started off, I wanted to, train people to communicate in body language, nonverbal body language. And then I changed to living a life of possibilities. And as I started working with my clients, I realized, just in my experience with my clients going through the Incredible You, that most of the issues were founded in relationships, whether it was partners, whether it was family, whether it was career, work, boss. And I realized this is where, if relationships were not right and people didn't change who they were, then their life would not be in a very good state. And I slowly, eased into that. I'll give you an example. I had a client, a Muslim man in his mid 50s, and he approached me and he said to me, I have been married for 17 years. I will be divorcing my wife. I want you to know that from the onset. I will be divorcing her, but I love, the program and that we've chatted about. And he said, he just needed to do this for himself. Well, by the time we got after week 2 and 4, and we got to week 5, when we came online, this man was sobbing. So then I knew he'd had a breakthrough. So I just waited. And then I said, okay, tell me about what has happened, and I thank you very much in the program. And without you, he realized, because as far as he was concerned, he'd done nothing wrong in his marriage. He'd done everything right. He'd provided for the family. They hadn't had a sexual relationship. They hadn't touched each other for 10 years. Imagine that, being in a house, living past each other. And then he realized there were certain things that he was doing that was blocking his wife, and everything she was doing, she was trying to get attention and significance from him. And he wept and he said, his relationship has changed. She has now invited his old dad, who was 85, to come and live with him, and said, he will be the head of the house until the day he dies. And she always said, your father's not coming here. You can go and visit him. I don't care if he's old. So he had given her significance, and it flipped from one day to the next. Their sex life was fantastic. He was asking me advice on lingerie. And I coached a group of Indian ladies in Johannesburg, and I said, please, where can a man buy lingerie for his wife? Because I suggested some fairly good departmental stores, and he said, no, it's got to be unique. And so he changed his date life, and he put he put like lovely, seductive lingerie in a little box with a flower. And he, so this was, and their marriage is amazing, and his life has turned around. Another lady as well just didn't want to be with her husband. She felt she couldn't be herself, and she was also going to divorce him and wanted to do this for herself. And she was so impacted by the program, and she said this program has done more for her and her relationship what 5 years of going to a psychologist has done, because it's practical, it's something you learn, and it's transformational. So I'm not knocking psychologists whatsoever. And she's also worked on a relationship, and they're back to being, a well-adjusted couple, because she understands the process. So this really got me thinking, and people, we battle in relationships because life is busy, it's hectic, we don't have time. So we're all busy, 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 busy,
Yeah.
and we live past each other and we don't understand each other.
Hmm. Exactly. So, even like, when I went through this program, I also understood that transformation is to work on yourself, right? And as Arpin says, the problem is not outside. The problem is in you. So any
Exactly.
areas which are blocking, it could be relationship, it could be health, it could be your money mindset. So all these areas which are blocking, which gets blocked, you you tend to, like, it's like a Pandora box, you tend to open it, and then you get all those breakthroughs. And same thing, like, it worked with my relationship also, because when I joined, my relationship was not going well, and I was struggling with it. It was 30 years of marriage, and suddenly it was like, falling apart. And I was not into it. I wanted the marriage to, like, be successful, and I wanted the marriage to stay. But somewhere, like, some things happened, it didn't work out, and it was not working out. And I said, okay, fine. And then I joined this program, and after that I came to understand ki, I've been looking outside of this thing. I was blaming him for few things, but if I just correct myself and if I look inside and I start working towards it, things would be good and I won't feel so bad. And that's what happened in my thing. Is now the thing is, we have a good relationship, we have a very understanding relationship, and we are giving space to each other. So we are not, like, blaming and complaining and all the time, having those fights. So that was the transformation which I have seen in myself. And when I read that you are relationship coach, I wanted to know about, okay, how is that? How does that actually works? Because it worked for me, but it was,
Yes.
yeah, for me it was like, more of internal experience, or maybe, like, I just started working and one of the blocks got cleared. But how actually? What is? How does it work? So for this, I have one question which I wanted to ask. I was like, key often in relationship, we see in relationship, there can be a space of a disagreement and harmony as well, both together at the same time. So how to, like, what should couples do to understand this, and what is your recommendation to the couples here?
Okay, so I think every case would be unique, and I think the most important job we have as coaches is for getting to people to understand who they are. Who am I? Where am I spending? What kind of state? Where am I coming from? Where I'm making certain decisions. And you know what happens, Jyoti? So you've got to understand yourself and you have to understand where you are and you
Yeah.
have to understand why you do certain things. And that's why the Incredible You is a transformational process.
Mm.
You've got 10 weeks to transform, which is really incredible. And people have to want it. So to say, okay, this is the advice, I'll tell you what happens is we all fall in love with our prince, and we look at this our handsome prince, and he looks at his beautiful princess, and we have expectations. He's going to keep me happy, he's going to love me, he's going to cherish me, he's going to spoil me, he's going to provide a home, we're going to have children, we're going to go on holiday, and we're going to be so happy. And he thinks, okay, I've got this beautiful wife who's loving and caring and
Mm.
amazing. She's going to be an awesome mother. She can cook so well. Her values are right. So this is how we go into our honeymoon period.
Yeah.
So then he leaves the toilet seat up. You don't put the cap back on the toothpaste, and you have major arguments. So it's not about the cap not being on the toothpaste. It's not about the toilet seat being up. It's about our expectations. So remember, we've all experienced some kind of trauma, big or small, or pain, or what we call defining moments in our life that we carry with us. And when we meet somebody, we look at this potential partner hoping that they are going to fill that void that I want filled, and he wants
Mm.
you to fill that void. So essentially, two people are broken, and we are broken to varying degrees. All of us, we
Yeah.
we
Mm.
all have had stuff happen in life in
Yeah.
one way or the other. And when those expectations are not being met, then you start fighting, you start your arguments. And very often you end up in divorce because you are not meeting my need. So divorce is good because then I can go and find another broken person who then will also not fill those needs, and then I'll get divorced and look for someone else. So until we understand who we are and that we have to make ourselves complete, your relationship is not going to be ideal. And we have a very good way of switching off, of putting our head in the sand and then just going with emotions. Do what you need to do. I'm a good wife. I will keep the house clean. I will cook. I will sleep with my husband. I hate it, but that is a wifely duty. Or I will put on weight and cut my hair short so he won't find me attractive. But guess what? Then he's going to go somewhere else because a man has a biological need, and then women tend to keep sex as a reward, which is totally wrong. So that also impacts on the relationship. So, and then as you said, you've got to look at the financial side. You know, are you talking about money? What is your intimacy like? Do you know each other's love language? You know, do you understand each other's values? So it's a whole process. You know, there's not just one thing. So my advice would be is to get to know yourself, see where you can improve on in your life so that you can have two whole people coming together. I don't know if that makes sense.
So,
But it's normally our expectations. Yeah.
Yeah. So having expectations is wrong, you are saying. So we should
I'm
not have
not saying it's wrong.
expectations from our partner or so
No, we will.
how should we
We
deal with
do.
that?
We do have expectations because this is the man I love. This is the woman I love. This is the person I want to spend my life with. This is the person I want to have children with. This is the person I want to get old with. So those are our expectations. And that's also expectations that are thrown onto us by society. You know, at a certain age, you get married, you go to university, you get married, buy a house, have kids. But, you know, you have to know yourself so well. And if I say, okay, I want to study and I want to learn and I want to grow, but your husband wants you to work, you know, stay in the kitchen. So there's many areas you have to look at and areas you have to work on. So my biggest transformation came where I had 32 years of unforgiveness. And when I was in Mumbai at Afin Khan's mega event, you know, he was doing a breakthrough session with this young woman on stage who'd gone through a similar sort of relationship events that I had gone through. And he was asking these questions, and I felt sick, I felt ill, I felt nauseous, I wanted to flee. I wanted fight and flight had set in, and I wanted to get out of there. And that really amazed me because I thought I had forgiven my ex-husband. As a Christian, I pray to God. And yes, so intellectually, I had forgiven him, but not in my heart. And I didn't realize that. And that day, and I was just about, and I had my head in my hand saying, how can he ask these questions? How dare he ask her these questions? You can't ask people questions. That was going through my mind. And there was Rashana was sitting next to me, and I said, I can't stand this. I actually feel nauseous. I'm getting out of here. Really surprised at my response. And then what Afin said was, we enter relationships with good intentions. You know, we want to love and hold and be with each other for the rest of our lives. You know, let's face it. We don't go into relationship thinking, oh, well, if it doesn't work, I'm going to get divorced. We want it to work. We want it to be happy. But then when challenges come along and we don't know how to manage those challenges, we don't have the skills because we don't know ourselves, we don't know our baselines, we don't know our end codes, we don't know our states. That gives us incredible power where we can work on ourselves to make everything around us really good. And once we change, the other person doesn't have a choice but to change. And then he said, if you are in a relationship and you only contributed 1% to the deterioration or breakdown of that relationship, you are accountable. And it was like a pin, like a lightning bolt going through me. And I thought, oh my word. So my ex-husband was narcissistic, which made it really difficult. And so I suddenly realized, okay, there's certain things that I did as well. So I'm also responsible. It wasn't only him. And that was massive, that I thought, okay, I have to take accountability as well. That was so huge. It might seem very simple to you. And then I realized I'd been living in victim mode my whole, without knowing it. People would see me, I'm outgoing, I'm an enthusiast and confident, and you'll never really know what's going on inside of me, because we are positive people, enthusiasts. So that was that. And when I got up, his brother said to me, she said to me, have you been in contact with your ex-husband? And I said, no, what for? So that cynical part came out. And then I sat down and I thought, you know what? I sat down, I wrote him a letter, said, I forgive you, hope you forgive me, thank you for the children, etc. And I sent it to him. And when I did that, it was like 32 layers of unforgiveness just floating off my body. And here I am, renewed, re-energized, ready for a whole new, another 100 years of life and living and helping people. So there's no one answer. There's no one. I think the biggest answer is understanding who we are, knowing our baselines. And those are very important things, knowing our coding, those voices in your head. You're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not a good wife, he doesn't love you, he doesn't find you attractive. So all of those things, and then we get into this really very low destructive kind of state. So once you're aware of that, then you can help yourself. And that's what I love about it.
So truly said, because even I feel the same thing. Till you start working on yourself, on what your thought, because I myself, I had a very low esteem after that incident. I went into my shell. I had very low self esteem, low confidence, and because of that my work suffered. And I was not even able to interact with people, look into their eyes and say and tell such a thing has happened, because I was not convinced, or I was in a denial state for a long, long time. But when I did this, I understood things happen. As you said, challenges come along with the rosy picture. The challenges are also come. But are we ready, or are we adept enough to meet those challenges, to deal with those challenges? Because in the present education system, we just keep teaching, because I have been a teacher for almost 15 years. And
Wow.
I realized ki not just academics is not enough. We have to even teach children how to deal themselves emotionally, how to deal themselves socially, how to express themselves if they have any challenge. And as you said, patriarchal society, we are not even supposed to talk such things, or tell such things to anyone. What will society
Oh,
think, right? What will people think? What will be the think about themselves? All this, what would other people think syndrome was, we are totally like, we are encased in that syndrome. And because of that, we are not able to even, like, I was not able to get out of that. But you
because of
very truly,
society, because of
yeah,
society's
society, yes,
expectations
exactly.
and the criticism. Yeah. So what do? You pull yourself down,
Hmm.
but you'll never admit it. But yet people can see that you're not okay. I'm sure people came to you and said, Jyoti, are you okay? And you say, no, I'm fine. I'm
Yeah,
fantastic. Why would you say that? But nothing, it's not congruent. It's not congruent. And you're
yes,
right. Children, I have a 12-year-old granddaughter, and I use a lot of the coaching skills from the Incredible You with her. It's amazing.
hmm,
It's very, very powerful. So, I mean, I'll use the X word, sex. We don't talk about sex. We don't talk
exactly.
about sex. We don't talk about it. And that's also because of our culture. It's a bad thing. And really, Georgie, you've got to bring sex back into the bedroom. Women have to bring sex back into the bedroom so that you can enjoy it until you're in your 90s, But we have, no, you don't do, you'll have a different man, and if you can go with the flow through the phases of life. I'm starting an intimacy mastermind where we're going to talk about things like that, because I trained anatomy and physiology and pharmacology and chemistry for many years in the industry I was in. And so I'm very happy to say, name the parts of the anatomy, not a problem. I actually did the training for a product we launched, a Viagra that we launched in South Africa. And I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I said, our industry is predominantly men. And when I stood in front of these guys, they were like, oh, yeah, so what is she going to say? And I said, okay, I'm going to open up by saying, I know your penis better than what you do. And I was talking about the anatomy and the physiology. So we need to talk about that. We need to understand each other's bodies and what we have, and how we can enjoy each other and love each other and hold each other and care for each other. Because a lot of that is gone. A lot of that is gone. You have relationships where, couples go and find other partners, but they're married, so she'll go out and find younger lovers and he'll go out and have younger lovers, but they're still married. So those are also becoming very, very popular because people are not getting what they should be getting at home, and the things you need to talk about and things you need to do. And just be together, have a lovely meal, or just lie in bed and hold each other. You don't have to do anything. Be close and warm, and so there's so many things, and it's just so big and so vast. So I'm very passionate about that.
Yeah, I could see
And
that. When you're talking,
it's all
also,
about
I can sense that.
intimacy.
It could go on for hours. This 1 hour is not enough, Rose.
Exactly. So I mean, I don't know if that makes sense. So keep your husband happy. Let him know that he's needed, because men are hunters. They're there to nurture, to take care of, and to provide. And very often they don't want to deal with emotion. Women are so emotional. Of course, we're all emotional. So why do men say that? They are as emotional as what we are, but men don't cry, men don't do that. So this is what we're taught, to suppress emotions from young. As a teacher, don't do that. Sit still. Don't interrupt.
Yes, exactly.
Don't talk when I'm talking. So then people just withdraw into a little shell and think, well, okay, my little light will just flicker when it could be shining. Yeah.
Exactly. So so one last question which I just wanted to ask was, so actually I feel you have already told. So what is your I just transformational theory on relationship? So anything like I don't know whether this question is right or not, but I just wanted to understand.
Repeat the question.
What is it, your transformational theory on relationships?
I think it's everything that we have. And my transformational theory is understand each other, work on it, and try and make all decisions from a good space and not from a negative space. And think before you speak.
One question is like, just popping in my head, like, okay, we are working on ourselves. Like, for example, me being a wife, I'll be working on myself. I'll be trying to understand. So does that understanding myself would solve all the problems, or the partner or husband has to also work on that? How would it happen?
You can work on it together. You both have to understand yourself, but it's got to begin with one. Because you'll always get one person who's not going to work on it.
But usually men don't
but if
agree.
you understand yourself and you start working on those things, so maybe, I don't know, still example, you won't have sex with him unless he takes you out for a holiday or a weekend away, and then it's not even worth mentioning. So you use that as a bargaining weapon. How's he going to feel? It's going to feel used. So as an example, or you decide to punish him, you're not going to cook for him. He must go to his mother or get takeaways or his own food, for example. So you have to put in I'm not saying you need to change, just see where you can improve on. And once he sees those changes, he's going to say, you're different. What's different about you? And a man has to be your hero. He has to know he's your hero, but authentically, thank you. Do you thank him for what he does? Do you thank him for providing? Do you thank him for his home? Do you tell him he looks nice? Do you buy him a nice shirt and say, I love you in this blue? I want you to take me out in this beautiful blue shirt and show you off. I mean, it's stuff like that. So you've got to start putting into that empty vessel. And he's
It's
thinking,
not
wow, she
easy,
really
Rose.
cares.
Is it easy? It's not
I
easy.
know. No, I know that. I know that. It's work. It's transformational. And it's got to start somewhere, and it begins with you. It begins with you because, like this gentleman I told you about, he was adamant he was getting divorced, and that was it. And then within 6 weeks, he was so in love with his wife again. It was really amazing. That's why I love this program so much. So I don't think there's a fixed rule, but definitely know who you are, work on it, work on your relationship. Start going back to when you were first married. What did you do when you were first married? In the honeymoon phases, go back to that. Go back to that and start introducing things. You're always so excited when your husband comes home. Always so excited to see him. Now he says, oh, hi, food is in the oven, and you carry on working.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, the king is home, you home, lay the table, make them feel special. And then he's going to start thinking, and he's going to say, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? What do you want? So you might get a negative response because now you've changed your pattern, but you're changing it for the better. So if it's consistent and you persist, then he will start changing. And there will always be issues. You'll overcome one issue, then there'll be another one. So you continually work at it.
Yes. It's a lot of work to do, guys. I'm saying, my viewers, you have a lot of work to do. Rose has given you a lot of homework and lot of work. If you want your relationship to improve and become better and better, try these things out, and you can contact Rose if you want to, or else you can also contact me. I can help you get in touch with Rose if you are struggling with your relationships and you want to work on that and want to improve it. So Rose is the best person. You can go to her and you can take her guidance, and she'll help you out. So last, please.
I just want to interrupt. I'm sorry. My mom and dad, my parents were married for 50 years. And I remember at my father used to come home at 5 o'clock every day. 4 o'clock, my mother would go and have a shower. She would put her earrings and her lipstick on and a fresh dress. And my dad came home to this lovely, pretty lady every single day. And you saw my mother unkept, ever, for my dad. Never, ever. So that's also a tip out of the old book. Look good. Look how lovely you look today. You've got your lipstick on, your hair looks good, you look lovely, and a man is visual. Don't forget that, ladies, a man is visual. So if you are not looking your best, then he's not going to notice you. But if you take a bit of effort, he's going to say, wow, I go home and my wife looks good and she smiles when I see him. It's those simple things.
That's so true. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, some efforts have to come from our side also. It's not like always blaming the other person, but first have a look at yourself. Where you are going, what are you doing? Are you giving the same input so that he gives you some output or something back? So that is very important. Very nicely said, Rose, and I think it was very insightful and lot of valuable information. I think we have gone very deep, and we could go more on and on, but I think my it's almost going to end. So I'll just stop here. It's the best one last piece of thought that you would want to give to our viewers on their transformational as well as on their improving their relationship with not only their partners but everyone around. It's not only husband, but yeah, everyone around.
I'm going to give very simple information. Smile at people, look at them when they speak to you.
Yes.
And be kind. And that has such a ripple effect. I would say give somebody a 10-second hug, but because of COVID, we don't. But hug your husband for 10 seconds. It's going to release oxytocin, not shorter. Oxytocin, the love drug, the cuddle drug that you release naturally. But I think kindness, listening, taking time out, getting off your devices. Don't take them into the bedroom or when you're speaking to people. How many people are looking down and they say, no, continue, carry on, and then they're on their devices. Yeah, I'm listening, but they're not listening. Active listening and looking at people. The eyes tell us so much, the face. So yeah, that's what I'd say. It's very simple, but very powerful.
Yes. Thank you, so Rose, for such a valuable and very insightful thoughts. And I think I am like, I'm going to work on it in more rigorously now, and see that how I can build good relationship with everyone around, with people around. Because I am also like, sometimes keep blaming people that they have not taken good care of me and something like that. So I just want to change that, and hope viewers you also enjoyed this talk show. And if you have any questions, do put in your questions. I will share these questions with Rose. And once again, thank you, Rose, for your precious time and spending your time with us, and sharing your thoughts and your valuable information with us. Thank you so much.
It was wonderful. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful day, Jyoti. Thank you so much.
Same to you, Rose. Same to you. Have a beautiful day.
Good luck. Love your husbands and love your wives. Be kind to each other and look good.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Jyoti. Thank you.